Hey nerdies, it's Kathleenmms here. I am again with Brian, 3 Topics Reviewer, and we're going to talk about some Batman topics today, Batman Superman topics. We're going to talk about the new trailer for the Batman vs. Superman movie, as well as some other Batman related stuff. Brian actually suggested that we do this video, and I thought it was a really good idea because he knows his Batman shit. And with that, I will leave Brian to his introduction if you don't already know his awesomeness already.
Well, thank you. I think you're even more awesome. And yeah, I just think I can't think of a better person to talk about all these new Batman and Suicide Squad details. So yeah, I just figured if you were up for it, and let's go at it. Since you already know I'm already the bigger Batman fan already.
I don't doubt that. And honestly, I know this is horrible, but I've been cheating on Batman a lot with Deadpool. I've actually kind of been more of a Deadpool fan lately, so I think you can definitely say that you're defeating me in that category.
I'll be right back. Did you just Deadpool? Well, that's funny because I think any Deadpool fan would want one of these.
Deadpool Kool-Aid! That's awesome! I want a Panda Pool shirt, you know? I really like Panda Pool.
Oh, that's funny.
I forget, I think it was, Deadpool Kills Deadpool that Panda Pool was announced. And, well, there were just so many ridiculous versions of Deadpool in that comic, but Panda Pool was my favorite.
This movie is going to be pretty crazy. I mean, it's going to be so many. I think it's going to throw some audience members off that don't know Deadpool. Like, probably every time he comes out and looks out at the screen, he's like talking to the audience because he's like self-aware.
Chimichangas!
It's like, what is this guy about?
I can't wait for the Deadpool movie because now, people will know who Deadpool is. I'm always talking about Deadpool, and no one knows who the fuck he is.
Well, they do know who he is if they saw that really crappy Wolverine movie. It's like, Deadpool.
Oh, God, no.
Like
la,
that,
la, 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 la.
Like, that guy. Like, that was not
That is not Deadpool.
That was not Deadpool. I don't know.
Didn't have a mouth. And he, was shooting lasers from his eyes. What the hell?
Blades that were so long that he shouldn't have been able to bend his arm. So he would have been stiff, they got.
Okay. Well, we can talk about Deadpool a little bit more later. But back to Batman versus Superman. So I want to hear your overall impressions of the trailer. Because I had a lot of opinions about it. But I want to hear, you suggested this. So I want to hear what you have to say first.
Well, first off, I love the tone of it. I'm definitely more of a DC person than Marvel. I mean, I just got back from Avengers, and Avengers was fun, but that wasn't really my type of a comic book movie. But I love how they're at least acknowledging the destruction of Metropolis, which makes it a lot more edgier. Yeah. I'm a little bit curious about what exactly Batman is going to be fighting Superman for, because even in the comic books, I've never really seen a legitimate reason that Batman would want to go after Superman, and that's definitely how it's looking.
Yeah.
I mean, I've seen many reasons when Superman goes after Batman, and Batman gets all prepared and beats him. But this time around, I'm a little bit curious. We still don't know what the threat is, because if they're really going to add in all of these heroes, which is they got Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, Aquaman. It's like there is no comic book storyline I can think of where Lex Luthor is that big of a threat. So I think there's going to be another villain in this film.
Yeah.
But overall, I absolutely love the trailer. Definitely pumped it for the movie. I'm sure when they release a second one, they'll have to show some Wonder Woman so we can see her in action, hopefully a little bit. And yeah, and they're definitely making Superman a very controversial character, which I guess in this age he would be. Like, what would you do if a real Superman actually existed?
Yeah.
Someone so powerful you couldn't stop him even if you wanted to. And I think it's just going to be a constant battle of Superman not wanting to be in the position of being treated like a god, and things just get a little bit out of hand, and Batman just wants to step in. And yeah, but overall I love the trailer.
Yeah. I think you brought up some good points. I'm surprised too, because I actually really like the trailer as well. And I really bitched out about Ben Affleck being Batman.
That dude is huge.
was actually impressed with the new Batman look. Like, not only the suit, the voice, the fact that he has this, like, kind of,
robotic voice.
Yeah, robotic, like, and I was hoping that every future Batman movie would distinguish Batman's voice, because I really like that. I really like that idea.
No more throat cancer, please.
Yeah, and I think part of it, too, is that when Ben Affleck was in the suit, he didn't look like Ben Affleck. Like, and that's why I was impressed. In many ways, he's just a placeholder for CGI, to be honest. Like, if you think about it, like, he's not, I don't know. But I think I may be a little bit more tougher on him as Bruce Wayne, you know? But I was impressed. I think he may change my mind, and I hope that he does. Like, I'm not gonna say that I won't go back on my opinion. Even in my first video that I made about Ben Affleck as Batman, I was said that I hope he changes my mind, and I think he is gonna change my mind.
Go ahead.
And the thing that bothers me the most about what I've heard about this movie is who they have playing Lex Luthor. Jesse Eisenberg, he always plays the geeky white kid in every film, and I can't see him being anyone else other than the geeky white kid. He plays the same character in every movie.
Michael Cera.
Yeah, so I don't know. What do you think about that casting?
In terms of casting, I don't like to flat out go against them or for them, but yeah, I'm with you on that one. I heard he did a movie recently where he kind of had two personalities. I haven't seen that film, but from everything I've seen him in, like Zombieland, why they haven't made a second one of that, I have no idea.
No, they should, dude.
I can't imagine him being intimidating Superman. I mean, Superman would just look at this guy and this guy is not a threat. I mean, unless they give Lex Luthor the suit, which I doubt he'll get in this one. But, maybe he'll change my mind. There are a couple people I'm really skeptical of, like Gal Gadot. I really got to see something from her first before I'm convinced. But back to Jesse Eisenberg. Yeah, I'm with you on that department. I could be wrong. I love it when I'm wrong, because I'll admit, I was one of those people back in 2007 that was against Heath Ledger. I was against him. I was like, how are you going to go from Brokeback Mountain as a gay cowboy to the Joker? This is going to be the worst thing ever. He's going to ruin this film. And then the second I can't...
Batman, I wish I could quit you.
The first time I walked out, I was like, he was the best thing in that film. I didn't even see Heath Ledger. I saw the Joker. I was like, wow, if the Joker was real, that's him. I'm scared. But yeah, so I've been wrong before, so I've learned just, wait till you see something first before you judge.
Yeah. Yeah, see, that's the thing. I think a lot of times actors are victims of their casting, because if an actor does a really good role or a really good job at a certain role, they're probably going to get cast in a similar role. That's what happens to a lot of actors. And I think sometimes they just need an opportunity to surprise us. So hopefully he will surprise us. I always I think I like what you said. Like, sometimes you just have to wait to see what happens. So, yeah. One complaint that a lot of people have about the trailer is that Batman has a gun in it, and
that's actually normal. If that is the gun I think it is, that's just the harpoon gun he has in the
Yes, exactly.
So it's not a big deal. And besides, the Batmobile all his Batmobiles have had guns.
Exactly.
I mean, heck, if you go back to the Tim Burton Batman, that Batman kills people, and no one calls Michael Keaton's Batman out on that. I mean, in Batman Returns, he literally straps dynamite to someone's chest, knocks them into a well, and they explode. I mean, so if anything, I think
he got away with a lot. I
know. So the whole thing of Batman has guns, like, he uses multiple different guns before, and even in the comic books, there have been rare occasions where he's actually used a gun if he didn't have a choice.
But usually the guns that he has are non-lethal, or they're used to clear a path, like destroy a wall or something to clear a path so he can get somewhere. Like, there are non-lethal ways you can use guns, so... but a lot of, you know, my friends that aren't familiar with the comics, they'll, like, ask me about that. They'll be like, why does he have a gun? And I just explain to them, it could be a harpoon gun, it could be something that he uses to, you know, clear areas or whatever. He's not necessarily going to kill Superman, but he does want to beat the shit out of Superman. I think it's very clear. Like, when he says that, you will bleed, and... Oh, that line was awesome, dude. I cannot wait to see...
Tell me.
I can't wait to see Batman kick Superman's ass. And he's going to kick Superman's ass.
The question is, how many times are they going to fight? It's like, I think the first time he's really not going to know how to fight Superman. So I think there's going to be one fight where I think Superman is going to be Batman, and then Batman's like, oh, I discovered kryptonite, let's use it. A second time, I'm more prepared. I take him down. I take Superman down this time. I don't think they're going to do one fight. Whoever wins, that's who's better. They should have two fights and even it out and prove that, Batman can beat Superman. Superman can obviously be Batman and level.
Yeah. So who do you think's going to win in the end?
I don't think anyone's going to win. I think it's going to be a draw. I think that we're going to see two fights between them. They're both going to win each round, and then something's going to happen, and they're going to team up, and then they're going to work together. And I'm real skeptical about how they're going to get the idea to form the Justice League, because that's how this movie has to end. If you're going to have all these characters being introduced in this, then one of them has to come up with this idea to start making a team.
Yeah. See, this is actually something that a lot of fans are kind of arguing about right now, is because the Superman fans are like, there's no way that Batman's going to kick Superman's ass. But the thing is, like, Batman has kicked Superman's ass.
He's not done it in official canon, but he can do it. But
he can do it. Like, he's done it before. So, and the thing is, like, I personally think it's important for Batman to kick Superman's ass because I think that develops both Batman and Superman's character. Like, Superman is such an he's so perfect. And in the few moments of weakness we see of him, like, it makes us relate to him more. So, like, seeing him get his ass kicked, it kind of makes him seem more human to me. And when someone like Batman, who doesn't have any supernatural powers, defeats someone with supernatural powers, it's more powerful to me personally. But I don't know. I see you're like, I don't know about this. I want to hear.
No. I'm with you. It's just the way I was seeing it was, if you're gonna have, I mean, I understand why Batman should fight Superman, because the way I thought they were gonna do it was that if you really think about Batman and you look at the rest of the members of the Justice League, he is literally standing with gods here. I mean, if you're going to throw in the Flash, Green Lantern, Aquaman, Wonder Woman, Superman, Cyborg, I don't know why he's in this one, but if you just take the standard Justice League members, he is literally standing with godlike characters that could do things he could never do. And so to take on the strongest of all of these guys and prove that, I may not have powers, but my mind is my greatest weapon. And heck, in many story cases, if you actually look at Doom, he came up with plans to take out the entire Justice League. That's something none of them could do. I don't think any individual member is strong enough to take out the entire league. I don't even think Superman on his own could take on the rest of the league. I mean, maybe if he was mad enough, but I think it's important to acknowledge that even though I don't have powers, I can still stand with these people. And that's why I think he should fight Superman and prove that.
Yeah. That's a really good point. I mean, that's one of the things I love about Batman is that he is really powerful mentally because he doesn't have these supernatural powers, but he still finds ways to defeat supernatural characters, characters that are much stronger than him. I don't know, one thing about Batman that I always find funny was there was an episode of the Justice League where Superman was trying to interrogate this person,
and he couldn't do it, and he walks out the door and he says, I don't know how Batman does it. And I thought that was funny. It's like, this is the guy who has all these powers and he can't get basic information from this guy, and Batman just like, let me handle this. And he's like,
yeah.
Oh, look.
So Batman just starts punching the crap out of him like
well,
he always does.
It's something, and then that just scares the guy. He's like, whoa, okay, I'll tell you everything you want to know. Like, how do you do that? Jason Momoa as Aquaman, he looks awesome. He looks more like Poseidon, but I guess that's kind of what this new version of Aquaman kind of is. He's king of the sea with the Triton, so I think he looks pretty badass. I think he's going to be awesome.
Yeah.
I'm sure they've already casted the other members of the Justice League, because if they have cameos in here, in this film, which I'm sure they do, then they would have already been casted, so they're just waiting for the right time to reveal who they are. So in terms of casting, that's really all that we know so far about Batman vs. Superman. I mean, I'm a little bit confused why they want to release this in March. I mean, I know why, because they don't want to go head-to-head with Captain America, which, you know, with Civil War, that's going to be big. So
yeah. Well, it would do really well as a summer release, though. But, I don't know. I think it'll still get a lot of views.
I think, I still think so, too.
Yeah. But, I don't know, you want to talk more about kind of the tone of the trailer? Because I know that we both really appreciated that, you know, at the beginning of the trailer, we just see this discussion happening in media, I guess, is what's implied, about the power that Superman's gained. And this is a really interesting issue of, like, he's this really powerful character, and he's using his power for good, but, you know, as the saying goes, absolute power corrupts absolutely, and a lot of people are afraid of his power. Yeah,
he doesn't answer to anyone. He's just there to help. I mean, and I don't know, in some storylines, he does work for the government, which is why it makes it a little bit acceptable, but I'm sure he won't go that far, and hopefully in this variation of Superman. And so I just think I love the tone. I love the discussion. I love how there's people for Superman, there are people against Superman, and I mean, I understand. I mean, the thing that a lot of superhero movies don't get criticized for is the amount of destruction. So I was actually quite surprised that Man of Steel was the first comic book movie I recall where the audience was really appalled by the amount of destruction.
Yeah.
And I was trying to explain to people, it's like, look, he has just had the suit for 24 hours. He is not really concerned about taking buildings down or saving people. He's worried about fighting Zod and taking him out, because if he keeps this fight going, it's just going to cause even more destruction. So I think it's justified. I mean, I'm sure he should answer for it, but, you know, in the future, which I hope they bring in Doomsday, I think they should make that element relevant, saying, you know, I don't want this fight to be in the city. I should take it outside. But as a first-timer, I don't blame him, because he's new to this. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Criticism.
What did you think about the first film?
I loved it. I loved their take on it. I liked how they were taking a much more realistic tone of it. They kind of, quote, Nolanized it.
Yeah.
Love that term. Yeah. One thing I was a little bit confused about, I didn't like how they were telling the story, how they kept doing flashbacks.
Yeah.
I thought that wasn't really necessary. I don't like how Lois Lane already knows he's Superman.
Yeah.
And they're apparently a thing now, even though I don't think they earned that.
Yes.
Which, you know,
this film did not do romance very well, because romance is created through tension, and they didn't have any tension whatsoever. It was just like, oh, we're a couple now, yay.
I'm a bit worried. I do not want them to put Wonder Woman and Batman together. I'm going to be pissed. I would not want that. That might have been cute in the animated show, but they have nothing in common. I don't want them to put Wonder Woman with Superman, even though that's kind of what they're doing in the New 52, which I think they're bringing to an end. I think she gets her own love interests, but that quickly falls apart if you actually read the New 52, and she ends up with Superman, and I don't want a love triangle. I'm not even sure if that's necessary in a comic book movie. I'm not sure.
Yeah, see, that's the thing, like, I hate to admit this, but I absolutely love action romance, and you know, like, I hate cheesy American romance films, but when it comes to action romance, it's usually so much better because all that tension there. And
It's like
I was really hoping that they'd do something really awesome with this couple, but they didn't. There were some really awesome moments though, like when he saves her from that alien like robot thing. That was kind of sweet.
And she just so happens to be in locations where he's at to save her all the time.
Yeah. I mean, well, she's a reporter, you know, whatever. I did like that she's not painted so much as a damsel in distress. Yeah, she is a damsel in distress, but she's also a pretty tough character. So, she's very ballsy, which I really like.
Yeah,
I love ballsy women. What can I say? So,
ballsy women. Wow, that just sounds wrong.
Yep. But yeah, I really liked Man of Steel for so many reasons. I mean, a lot of people complained that there was too much action in it, but you know, there could have been more story, but I liked all the action. Like, I liked it.
Oh, I loved it, definitely.
I thought the fact that there was so much action just kept me more engaged, but I guess for people that say that, I think, well, it's an action movie. What did you expect, you know?
Oh, well, people were complaining about that in like Superman Returns, which I know a lot of people don't like. I personally thought was okay. It's like from that movie, you only remember the plane crashing scene, and then the scene where he is lifting that giant kryptonite island. It's like, yeah, that didn't have a lot of action at all. It was just a lot of talking. Then he finds out he has some son that he had. So, I mean, that's something else. But
yeah,
but
I really like that movie. Actually, I just thought it was too cheesy.
I mean, I think people were expecting something new, and I think that's why they're disappointed. I think that should have been a prequel story, because I really do like Brandon Routh as Superman and the Atom, which he's awesome as. I just felt that he did not look like an older Christopher Reeves. If this had been before that, that would have been perfect, because he definitely looks like a young Christopher Reeves in that film. But, you know.
Yeah.
What can you do?
I think it's time, unless you want to, you know, have any concluding thoughts about the trailer, to talk about some Suicide Squad stuff.
Sure.
If you want to, because we kind of already went a little bit into it. So you did point out the fact that there's images of Harley Quinn, which I hadn't realized. I feel super dumb for not realizing that, but I just saw the picture of Harley Quinn.
I was surprised you didn't post any on your Twitter or Facebook saying, look at this new Harley Quinn image. It's like, there's a bunch of them now.
Yeah. I usually people tweet this stuff to me, but I guess no one kept me in the loop about it. So
like, I'll be sure to just send I'll do this. And anytime they release a new one, I'll tweet it to you immediately.
Okay, awesome. Good plan. But yeah, I just saw the image and I don't like it.
Really?
I don't like it.
Really?
Yeah. I just saw the picture of her, like, excuse me, my voice cracking. I just saw the picture of her in all wet, like in the rain.
Yeah. And
I don't like it.
Really?
Yeah. What do you think of it?
I think it's okay. It's how do I explain this? It's not lovable Harley Quinn, but this version of Harley Quinn looks like the type of girl that. Well, how do I say this? Maybe I had a drunk one night stand with her and I don't remember. But yeah.
That's an interesting point.
Look crazy. I mean, I may be wrong from these images. I don't think we're gonna get like psychotic Harley, because she does kind of act like a chameleon, like depending on who she's around. Like if she's around like villain, she'll be like a lot more deadly. If she's around a hero, she'll be, you know, a bit heroic. And that's what I liked about Harley Quinn. But with the Suicide Squad, I'm really not sure what type of Harley we're going to get, because the Suicide Squad is odd, because technically they're supposedly villains, but they're working for the government.
Yeah.
And so they're forced to do good things. And we already know Batman's going to be in this too. So, you know, there's no doubt in my mind that they're going to take some elements from the Assault on Arkham film. And even that Harley Quinn wasn't, in my opinion, I didn't see her that psychotic. She was really playful. and just kind of wanted to just, I hate to say, screw everything in sight, which she did to a point, but
yeah.
Yeah, I think this is going to be just a much more toned down Harley Quinn. I don't think we're going to get the Harley Quinn that we're used to, which doesn't bother me. I mean, but the look is it's not too out there. I mean, I think if you didn't know that was Harley Quinn, you might have some trouble identifying it. And I think that's what might throw some people off, is that unless you know that's Harley Quinn, you wouldn't think that. Which is what I've heard for some people that said about Jared Leto was the Joker. If you didn't know that was the Joker, something about it seems a bit off.
Mm-hmm.
What are your thoughts on it?
Okay. That's interesting what you said. She looks like a mess. And I think that's what they were going for. Like, kind of, like you said, that girl that you hooked up with once, but you don't really know much about because she just kind of seems kind of sloppy, kind of out there.
It's like, wow, you were hotter last night. Like, was
yeah. It's like, I was drunk and you look different. Yeah, I think that's a good way to describe it. But she just looks like a mess. Like, her makeup's all runny. Like, her clothes, it just looks like she just threw something on that she's been wearing for, like, maybe a couple of days. Her hose are all, like, torn up, and I guess I'm used to kind of the, like, playful, seductive Harley, the kind of, I grew up watching Batman the Animated Series, and there's something about that Harley, that kind of, and, the Arkham games, too. She's just this playful, kind of seductive character that you almost you want to be with. You want to be with Harley. There's this sympathy that you have for her, or, like, this sympathy that I have for her as I'm seeing her go through all this bullshit that Joker puts her through, that makes me sympathize with her.
In the Injustice game, if you ever got a chance to play that, there was a great moment where she actually did stand up to the Joker, and I applauded. She just was not going to deal. She's like, you know what, I'm done dealing with your crap. I don't want to deal with you anymore. And she kind of beats him up, and she's like, Joker's like, oh, wow. I was like, yeah, we're done. I was like, wow, way to go, Harley.
Yeah. And even the first comic book appearance that Harley had was, she just came off to me as, like, this very playful character. And yes, demented, definitely capable of some effed up shit herself. She's not completely innocent, for sure. But this is just very, like, kind of broken down Harley, and I don't know. I don't like the look, I guess.
Have you seen what she looks like when she's dry, or did you only get to see the image where she's kind of in the rain, or like there's a bunch of images. Like, she's one where she's carrying a bat, and one where her jacket's off, and one where she's standing with the rest of the Suicide Squad. Like, they released a bunch.
Yeah, I'm kind of looking at some more now, and I still don't like any. There's one where she's getting held
By Will Smith, Deadshot.
Yeah.
I'm curious.
What do you think about Will Smith as Deadshot?
Okay, I'll go this far. When I was a kid, throughout the '90s, Will Smith was by far my favorite actor. Everything he did was gold. Wild Wild West, even though that did terrible at the theaters, I love that film. Independence Day, Men in Black, and then as in his later career, he did a couple of projects I didn't like. He did Hancock, I didn't like that. 7 Pounds, didn't like that. I think the last movie he was in I enjoyed was Men in Black 3. I didn't particularly like Focus, but I felt like I needed to see that because I want to see the dynamic that those two would have on screen, so I kind of would see if that was going to transition over to those two as a Deadshot and Harley Quinn, because for those of you that don't know, in the comic books, they kind of have they're like F buddies, I guess. Mm-hmm. I'm not sure so I'm curious if they'll add that in the film. That'd be interesting.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it'll be interesting for him to be in a movie where he is not the main focus.
Yeah.
That's what I'm looking forward to, because when you put Will Smith in a movie, he's always your lead.
Yeah.
But this time around, I don't think it's going to be all about him. It's going to be about everyone else. So everyone's gonna have a chance to shine, and that's what I'm really looking forward to.
Yeah, I think Will Smith will do a good job. Like, yeah, I pretty much enjoyed him in all the films I've seen of him. Um, so I think he'll do a decent job. But that it will be interesting to see him, as you said, not as the lead because he's usually trying to steal the show. So,
Show.
I almost kind of picture him on set being like, this is
Yeah.
me, like
No.
getting in front of the camera, trying to
Like if you really want a career boost in this age, you gotta be in a comic book movie character, and you gotta put your ego aside and think about the team and not just yourself. Because I don't think we'll ever get a Deadshot movie, but heck, maybe we will. He's an interesting enough character. I think anyone in the Suicide Squad is in their own right, an interesting enough character that I'd like to see a whole story around them. But kind of hard to make a movie about a villain. I don't think we've had that yet.
Yeah. I think the overall look of many of these characters is very different interpretation. Like, I think, from what I've been seeing of Joker and Harley, it looks like they're kind of going with a very different look overall.
Yeah. I mean, I think the overall looks of all the cast members, it's a bit mixed to me, because if we're trying to go for this realistic look on these characters, I'd expect them to look certain ways, but there's certain characters that I'm like, okay, that's flat out comic book. I don't believe someone would look like that in the real world, but that's clearly the direction they want to go with their DC universe. And I think those are the characters that are going to throw me off.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I think that just shows that comic books do have to change, as well as comic book movies. They have to change with the times, and it's what makes them continue to be engaging to a current audience. If they continue to stay the same, there'd be a lot that they'd be missing out. It's like, when I read old comic books, I realize, wow, some of these problems could be solved with cell phones, but they didn't have cell phones. So, and it's interesting whenever I see a comic book where a character like grabs their cell phone, and I'm like, wow, because you have to kind of think about how a lot of things that superpowers would solve back then, modern technology would solve now. But what are your any other thoughts on Suicide Squad? Or
let's see, any more thoughts on it? I'm sure it won't be any Guardians of the Galaxy, but I think that'll be a tougher thing to sell, because I'm curious, because as far as we know, we don't really know anything about what they're going to do, because the storyline that they had in Asylum Arkham was a bit mixed, because Amanda Waller had them going in to do this, and then that fell apart, and then Batman showed up, and now Suicide Squad's fighting Batman. So now I was like, wait a minute, okay, so these guys are bad guys because they're trying to kill Batman, but they're trying to do their own thing. And so I think that's what's going to confuse people. It's like, are we supposed to cheer for these people because they're in this situation where they're being forced to do things that they won't? Or do we want to see them die because these are villains? They have done terrible things. So maybe I want to see Amanda Waller blow their heads off. Maybe they deserve to die. But I think that's going to be the challenge. It's how do you present these people that are opposite to Batman, who's obviously the good guy? How do you present them in a way that the audience will support them, even though deep down they're bad people, which they are. Most of the Suicide Squad members have done bad things, and they're only in this because they're being forced to. I mean, imagine if you took like the top 6 villains and you put them in this situation. It's like, what if you put, Joker and Lex Luthor, even though I know they would never get captured, and you take, Parasite and Metallo, and you put them in the situation. These are terrible people. Do I want to root for them? Or do I want to see them die?
Yeah. Well, I think that tension is what is going to make it interesting. Is that tension of, well, do I care about these characters or do I hate them? I think that's what makes a good villain.
Yeah.
I I think, honestly, this movie is going to be hit or miss. Like, it's either going to blow our minds with how unique it is and how it uniquely captures villains that we are familiar with in a different light, and still preserve the things that we like about these characters, or it's just going to be so different that it is unrelatable. That's what I think. They're either going to go way too overboard with changing these characters, or they're going to make them unique in a way that we can relate to. It'll either be hit or miss.
Yeah, and with a group called Suicide Squad, do I really want to take my kids to go see this?
Yeah. See, that's the thing, too. That's kind of one of the issues with comic book movies, is that they want to preserve that family-friendly viewing, is kind of why a lot of comic book movies do so well in the box office, because anyone can see them. And that's been the tension with releasing a lot of these kind of mature movies, such as Deadpool, because Deadpool's definitely going to say fuck every once in a while, and if he doesn't, I'd be surprised.
I heard a lot of parents really upset about that. They took their kids to go see Watchmen, like, the first 10 minutes.
What?
It's like graphic, and it's like, we want our money back. I didn't want my kids looking at this. It's like,
did they not know that Watchmen was R?
Apparently they didn't do their research, because I knew that was going to be R big time. It's like, this
usually at the theater they say, hey,
they would tell you. So I'm surprised people missed that. It's like, did you not see the trailers? I'm sure it says somewhere what it's rated. So yeah, I was surprised by that. But yeah, I certainly think Suicide Squad is going to be an interesting sell, even just by the name.
Yeah. You know, I think people will see it out of curiosity, including myself. But there are some people that say they're not going to see it at all, because,
really?
You know, I watched Mega 64's podcast, and I think it was a couple weeks ago, where they talked about the new Joker look, and they said that they all hated it. They hate the idea of Jared Leto as the Joker, and some of them said that they're just not going to see it. Like, and people will joke with them. They'll be like, "Oh, you'll eventually see it," and they're like, "No, I'm not going to see it." So, I don't see why you wouldn't see it out of curiosity, but.
I've said that about so many movies, and I may not see it on opening day, but I eventually end up seeing it, whether in theaters or I'll see it on television or rent it. But yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I haven't seen the new Avengers movie yet.
I hated the first one the second time
I didn't like the first one either.
I didn't like it the first time I saw it in theaters. Like, I was like totally confused because I didn't know what to expect, and then I waited 8 months after it had been released, and I saw it a second time, and then I kind of understood what they were doing. It's like, okay, now that I've seen it by myself, I've had time to think about it. Now I understand what they were doing, and it works. It works for me.
There's so many things about it, though, that just annoy me. Like, what they did with the Hulk. Like, he can all of a sudden control all of his rage for the sake of the plot. Wait, what?
Have you seen that yet? Have you seen Age of Ultron yet?
No.
Okay. I'm not going to say anything, but I feel very mixed on that. Like, someone's going to ask me. A lot of people have asked me to do a review on it. I'm not sure if I should.
Did you like it?
It fixed it. It's one of those movies where I hope your viewers aren't going to attack me for saying this. It was one of those movies where it certainly got some things right. They fixed a lot of problems I had with the first film, but it seemed like for every problem they fixed, they made a number of big ones. So it's like they take one step forward and 2 steps back. I mean, I don't regret paying $11.50 to see this in 3D. I don't regret it, but this was not the type of movie I would want to see a second time, which for me, that's really how a lot of the Marvel movies have worked for me. It's like, I don't regret paying to see it in theaters because that's how you should watch movies. But out of the entire cinematic universe, only, I want to say 3 of them I thought were great movies that I would happily see in theaters multiple times and would buy them, which I have. But other than that, most of their movies are like one-timers for me. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, when I saw the first one, I wasn't that impressed. I was just like, I think the thing is, superhero movies just rely so much on CGI. And I know I'm saying that even though I like Superman, but I feel like the CGI in Superman doesn't annoy me as much for some reason.
Zack Snyder's a very visual director, so he knows how to make CGI look really good.
I just didn't like the CGI in the Avengers movie. That's why I really like the new Daredevil series on Netflix, because there's so little CGI, and it's just like hand-to-hand combat. It's so well done.
Fisk is the best villain in the Marvel universe, hands down.
Yeah.
Way better than Loki, even though Loki's cool. But wow, Fisk, man, that is one supremely dynamic character.
Mm-hmm. And the way that that actor, he did a fantastic job. Just making such a complex character. And I have to give it to, who was that woman that he kind of falls for? I don't want to go too much into the plot because I don't want to spoil anything. Yeah, but there's like this woman involved in the plot.
Yeah, I can't remember the actress's name, but I know who you're talking about. But
she did a great job, because you always kind of wonder what kind of woman would fall for a villain. And oftentimes they portray these characters, these female characters, as pathetic. But she's a very strong-willed, strong character. And I think like she was one of my favorite characters in that series, because she was so dynamic herself. Mm-hmm. So,
which, I kind of hope that's what we get with this new Harley. I mean, if this girl is the type of person that's going to fall for the Joker, I don't want her to just be the animated one where, she just follows and does whatever the Joker tells her what to do and takes beatings from him. It's like, I really want her to have moments where, like, yeah, Joker, I love you to death, but, I can't stand up to you.
Yeah.
And that's the type of Harley I'd love to see.
Yeah. I don't think Poison Ivy is going to be in this, is she? I love Poison Ivy and Harley together, because like that's sometimes when she gets fed up with the Joker, she goes to Poison Ivy, and Poison Ivy kind of like comforts her, and I just love their dynamic so much. And I don't think I want to see them in a film together so bad.
If they're gonna throw in supernatural elements in. I think in Batman's universe, I'm not sure if they want to go that route. That'd be really, really risky, because in this new Gotham series, I don't even know why they have her in there. That makes no sense.
I love Poison Ivy.
I don't even like Gotham. That is, I couldn't even finish that. Mm. It really lost me about halfway through.
Speaking of Poison Ivy, I think it was it Rush? When, not Poison Ivy. Yeah, it was Poison Ivy that she corrupted Superman.
Yep. Actually,
Hush, right? Hush. Yeah, sorry. But I thought that I kind of like the idea of that. But one thing that I've never gotten is how come Poison Ivy has never corrupted Batman? I just don't understand that. That's never adequately been explained.
I think Batman's just used to her, so he's kind of, I guess, mentally and physically can be immune to her poison, because there's been tons of times where she's poisoned him and he's kind of been able to resist it or hold it off at times. So I think it's just the fact that he's used to it, just like Scarecrow's fear toxin. He's been injected with that stuff so many times that he kind of, when it happens, he kind of knows what to do to calm himself down, and he knows he'll see hallucinations and he fights through it. So yeah.
Yeah, he does seem to have a very high tolerance for toxins, and but still, I feel like it's not. I'm like, you'd have to be crazy not to be corrupted by Poison Ivy. Like, I don't know. Even Catwoman was corrupted, which I think says something. Just saying, Catwoman's a little bit into the ladies.
Yeah, that was like, what is this? This is new.
Catwoman's a little bi-curious. What can you say? So.
Yeah, I know. That's why she's awesome. That's Batman vs. Superman. That's going to be awesome. Suicide Squad. That's going to be hit or miss. Some interesting ideas, some things I don't agree with. However, I want to do one closing statement. I'm going to be sad to see the Arkham series come to an end, but looks like they're going out big.
Yeah.
So pumped up for this.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I need to catch up. I've been too broke to read comics lately. But the only thing I'm reading right now is I read some of Cable and Deadpool and almost finished that. And I also read, I've been reading Saga nonstop. That's the only one I've been reading nonstop. But I've kind of gotten behind on a lot of stuff. So maybe you could give me suggestions on how to get caught up on the Batman stuff.
Lock yourself in a room, buy a bunch of Batman stuff, and read.
Yeah. That's why I can't wait to, like, get my new job in August. I'm probably going to be spending most of my money on comics. I don't know where I'm gonna find comics in Korea.
Yeah, that's it's like, how are you? There are so many things that I think are gonna be harder. It's like, how are you gonna get games? I mean, movies are gonna come out at way different times, and
movies actually come out before America in Korea, so I'm gonna get to see everything before everyone else.
Like, is it gonna be like subtitled, or are they gonna have people?
They'll probably have subtitles, so I'll get to see it in English, but it'll probably have subtitles. So
you have to read and watch, which a lot of people can't do for some reason. I don't have a problem with that. I like to watch Japanese animes all the time, so.
Yeah, and I've been watching, like, Korean dramas nonstop lately, so
that's cool.
Yeah, to help me with my Korean. I've been catching up on really random phrases that I'll probably never really use, but, you know.
That's fun to know.
Yeah.
The more you know, the better.
But, yeah, that's another thing, too, is that console gaming is not a big thing in Korea. Gaming is big, but mostly massive RPGs online. Like, EVE Online is really big there. Just, like, online games are big, but not console games. So it's going to be hard to find console games. I may have to get it shipped to me or something like that. I'm kind of worried about that, but...
Yeah.
But, yeah. And I'm going to have to figure out... I may have to read a lot of digital comics if I can't find them in English.
Yeah. Like, I find it very unlikely you're going to find a comic store that sells comics in English there.
Yeah. Or I could just get Korean comics and read them in Korean. So, by then I'll probably know enough, hopefully.
Yeah, that works too.
Yeah. I mean, there are a lot of nerds in Korea, but they're into different type of nerd stuff than I think a lot of American. Like, America's more into, like, American comics and console gaming, whereas, like, I don't know so much about comics in Korea, but I'll definitely be doing a lot of videos on it once I figure that out.
Yeah,
so.
I'm curious now. I really thought Korea was kind of one of those places that's kind of wouldn't be into that kind of stuff, but wow. Yeah.
There's a lot of nerds there. I mean, people get sent to rehab for gaming there because it's such a, like, addiction, apparently. Like, people have hardcore gaming addiction there, which is awesome. Not awesome. If it's ruining your life, that's not awesome. No. So I think I'm going to go ahead and conclude the recording here. Right. Thank you all so much for watching. I want to hear everyone talk about their opinions of the new Batman, Superman news, and Suicide Squad news in the comment section. And any final thoughts from you, Brian?
Nope, I'm ready. I'm good.
Okay, awesome. We should go. First of all, I want to say that as far as we know, this is not going to be the Joker's finished look. In fact, some images of the Joker have been circulating the internet of him looking completely different without the tattoos and similar